go back home to Mexico, I'm struck by contrast. The beauty and rich culture of street markets sit alongside parents with their children, covered in dirt with no shoes on their feet, begging for money. I noticed my grandmother take out of her coin purse and give each person she passes a couple of pesos. I remember telling her, "Stop, you're giving away all of your money." And today, though my mom and my uncle financially support my grandmother, she said to me in return, "Don't worry, I'll be just fine sharing what I have." I, just like my grandmother, have always wanted to make a difference in others' lives. But as I've grown up, I've learned that many people believe one person cannot make a difference. I've been asked questions like, do you really think recycling that one piece of paper is going to help save the planet? Do you really think eating all that food on your plate is going to help end world hunger? Though questions like these can be disheartening, my reply is always yes. I do genuinely think my actions can amount to something, and that they will create a positive impact in the world. I live in a generation of socially minded individuals who are conscious of their actions and want to create a positive impact. We have the fire and passion of youth to want and to wish for a more just society and a beautiful world to live in. All we need is fuel from those around us. Now, there are two ways one person can make a difference, as individuals and as starters of a movement. Our actions and our choices matter. They shape our days, our lives, and ultimately our world. Every day we have to make hundreds of decisions, and we can either make convenient ones or considerate ones. For example, when you go shopping, you always have the choice to research from the brands you buy from. Many of the big retail brands we buy our clothes from are guilty of manufacturing using sweatshops or child labor in order to produce extremely cheap clothes. You are the consumer. You are the one choosing where you want to spend your money. I challenge all of you to look into the brands you buy from and see if they are responsible and treat their workers fairly. Another common choice we make is to buy granola and protein bars. I recently discovered that there are some companies that donate a portion of their proceeds to nonprofit organizations, such as the nonprofit Not for Sale and the Global Fight Against Human Trafficking, and others that donate to nonprofit organizations that help the conservation of wildlife. That's pretty amazing. There is power in our choices. We can help support companies that hold the same values as us and wish to create a positive impact on the world, instead of aimlessly trying to accumulate as much stuff as possible without understanding what it took to get into our hands. This is the difference between a convenient decision and a considered decision. In order to change our decisions, it takes effort, just like anything else in life. We have to do research and learn about the brands we buy from and the world around us in order to understand what we want to support. However, our power as individuals isn't limited to our choices. Our actions are just as powerful. I know this isn't the reality. I know there's cruelty and corruption in the world. I know it isn't a perfect place. However, if we accept defeat because we believe we are too young or too old or too small to do anything, then we will allow the perpetuation of these problems to happen. An admirable example of someone who believed she could make a difference was Malala Yousafzai, a young girl from Pakistan who in her small village of the Swat Valley advocated for girls' education. As a result, she was shot in the head by the Taliban, but she miraculously survived. She was only 15 years old. Instead of sulking and staying in Pakistan, she used her growing popularity and public platform to advocate for girls' education in the world. That definitely did not turn out the way the Taliban wanted. Since then, she has received the Nobel Peace Prize in 2014 and is a figurehead for improving girls' education globally. Her actions, positivity, and hope is what has inspired millions of people and girls like myself to donate to either her organization and create some of our own. She has already done all of this and just recently started university at Oxford. She's just 20 years old. Other teenagers have created an immensely positive impact in the world are sisters from Bali, Melati and Isabel Widgson. These two girls actually told a story in their own TED Talk. Everything started when they learned about the negative impact plastic bags have on the planet, and they wanted to stop using them altogether. However, this wasn't enough for them. They wanted to increase awareness and stop more people from using plastic bags. How do I know? Because since my mom watched their TED Talk, we no longer accept any plastic bags at any store and always make sure to bring our own recyclable canvas bags. It's gotten to that point that if we forget to bring our bags, my mom will ask for all of our groceries to be put back into the cart. Trust me, when this happens, taking an entire week's worth of grocery shopping one by one out of the car is not my definition of fun. However, this is exactly the sort of positive impact 2 girls have caused in my household, and hundreds more from people that heard their talk. A trickle effect occurs when someone is courageous and determined enough to want to make a difference. It gives people the fuel and desire to help out and want to support. A current example of this is what the students at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas have begun to accomplish. I live in West Boca Raton, 20 minutes from Parkland, where the school shooting took place just over a month ago. I've been part of a community that has come together in unimaginable ways. What I have been the most awestruck by are the actions of the students at MSD. A day after the shooting, a few students spoke to reporters to retell of the events that took place. I didn't expect much else to happen, given my understanding of other school shootings. Then when I got home, February 21st, from having done a walkout at my school, I was shocked to open Snapchat and see all of the walkouts that took place, not just in my community, but in Florida and in other states. I was only beginning to grasp the movement these students were creating. It wasn't until that same night when I was watching CNN with my family, the students of MSD speaking to our Florida representatives and the NRA in Tallahassee. That was when I knew, as many now say, the students had turned a moment into a movement. The power of each individual on that stage was evident, from the actions they took to be up there, such as taking the bus all the way to Tallahassee, as well as the decisions they made when choosing their questions. The effort of the students that wanted to help their community after the tragedy created a school effort, has spread to a community effort, a national effort, and now a world effort. Our actions are powerful. They are contagious and can create unimaginable impacts on the world around us. This could not be more true for the 180,000 individuals that marched in Washington, D.C. on March 24th for the March of Our Lives, as well as the marches that took place all around the United States and in every continent except Antarctica. This has all been a result of the actions of the students of MSD, all of them teenagers advocating for gun control to prevent another school shooting from affecting any other student or school ever again. These are just 3 examples of teenagers that have used their individual actions to create a ripple and a positive change in the world, all of which inspire me and remind me of the power of my decisions and my actions. I've always cared about my education, not just because I love to learn, but because it is what will help me navigate the world around me, and it can't be taken away from me. 2 years ago, I learned about an organization that helps provide clean water, education, and a sustainable way of living for very poor communities in the world. That was when I bought 2 bracelets, one for myself and one for my mom. A year later, I bought 2 more. The organization stood for a cause that really inspired me, and I wanted to create a greater contribution. I first explained the problem of the lack of girls' education to my school community. Then I asked people to help volunteer and make bracelets just like the ones the women in developing countries were employed to make. At the end of 2 weeks, we made a total of 100 bracelets, which I was then able to sell on the school campus, and we were able to fundraise a total of $1,000, which was then all donated to the charity that helps give children in the world the possibility to go to school and receive an education. Everything started because I made the decision to use my money to buy 2 bracelets from an organization that aligned with my values. Then it inspired me to create a greater impact and a larger contribution. We are like the beads needed to make those bracelets. However, 1 bead isn't enough. 1 bead needs to go first for the rest to follow suit and create a beautiful mosaic that is the bracelets which student volunteers help to create. This earth is like one large bracelet with a thread that connects all of us together. Each bead is a different shape and a different color, however equally is beautiful. And our actions and our choices matter because they can determine whether we form a beautiful and harmonious mosaic of a bracelet or decide to go our own separate ways and shatter the string and have all the beads spill out. We must be resilient and learn to hold on tight to those near us because it is through love and compassion that we will be aware of our privileges and we will help create change together and create a more just world to live in. Now I'm telling every one of you in this audience that may be thinking of a kinder planet to live in, or thinking of all your aspirations or dreams you want to accomplish, that your actions will create a ripple, your actions do add up, and you can make a difference. All you have to do is be brave, passionate, and resilient. Because as my grandmother always told me, we are placed on this earth to serve others. If not, then what's the point? Thank you.